Well, I worked for Senator Bill Roth and came to appreciate the state. I usually have dinner with my neurosurgeon, Dr. Art Cobreen.
Having been through it myself, the first 2 or 3 weeks you're just barely getting used to things. It's a whole new life. I don't go back and relive that day very often. I do it every March 30th, I do. The White House sent a car that got there immediately. And I was to the hospital before they started operating and talked to the neurosurgeon, Art Cobreen. I remember that conversation, just every word of it, almost exactly as he said it. He said, your husband was shot over the left eye. It has gone through his brain and to the right side. He said, one thing we can be sure of is that he will have no use of his left arm, limited use of his left leg. And then he said, however, I want you to know that this is extremely serious and that he could succumb to this operation. But I would like to see a 3-day waiting period to enable the very best background check so that the localities involved have a chance to weigh in. I'd like to see it include what's called secondary sales. Right now it only includes sales from a licensed gun dealer, federally licensed gun dealer. So if you go to a gun show or go somewhere else and buy a gun from a non-licensed dealer, from somebody who's just selling their gun collection, you do not have to undergo a background check. And this is a source for criminals, for terrorists to be able to get weapons. I'd like to see the concealed carry laws tightened up a little bit. They can have their guns as long as they're not a fugitive or felon or adjudicated mentally ill. So that's not the problem. I think one of the things is that for a certain group of people, they don't want government intrusion into any part of their life. And guns are the final thing they feel like that's something that someone is going to take away from them. And unfortunately, the gun lobby fosters that fear. Oh, they're coming after your guns. Well, I don't know who in the world they think is going to come after the guns. A very small number of people in this country want to ban guns. They're just a small minority. There's nobody that's going to be coming to take their guns, and why they believe this, I don't know. Well, it's because the gun lobby is encouraging that thought, and that's sad. I've started coming to the beach in Delaware, actually in Bethany, when I was just a little girl. We'd come for 2 weeks and make a trip up here to Rehoboth and make another trip down to Ocean City in Maryland, but we stayed right in downtown Bethany when there was nothing there, but there was on the boardwalk was and it's where I think it's called the Breakers is now. There was a little donut shop and a little tiny drugstore across from it. And then, about 3 streets down was the bowling alley. That was the big thing in Bethany. And every night we'd all go down to the kids. We had lots of kids around. We'd all go to the bowling alley every night. And every morning we'd get up and go eat donuts at the donut shop. Loved it. It was so much fun. But all my life. And then once Jim and I were married, we started going to Bethany.
And then so you got him hooked as well, or?
Yep, he loved it too. He was out there at the crack of dawn, getting the fishing poles out, the surf fishing poles, and getting the kites ready. And we always had several other families come down with us. And Jim was the cook.